reason I reached out to Workergenix is I hit a ceiling or find a way to scale up. I'm still doing the direct client interactions and the sales account management side, but a lot of the actual work that's being done by my virtual professionals, and they do a great job.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Workergenix Mastermind. I've got special guest Beau Moffatt with Moffat Consulting. He is a Workergenix client, and we're going to learn about the services that he offers and how he's successfully used virtual professionals in his business and other tips and tricks he has for people with their marketing and website needs. Welcome to the show, Beau. How are you?
Hey, Harley, I'm doing well.
So tell us, Beau, what's an example of how you've experienced highly leveraged success with virtual professionals?
Yeah, so since having virtual professionals, I started with one. I was able to, after getting them onboarded and trained with our processes, was able to really increase productivity. And so we build websites and also offer digital marketing as part of our services. And through that, some SEO services, email campaigns, things like that. And so been able to use, we now have one full-time and one part-time virtual professional, and have been able to use them to really increase productivity so that we can turn around website projects quicker, as well as repeatable tasks that we do for clients on a weekly, monthly basis.
What were some of the challenges getting started with virtual professionals, like during the onboarding or training or things like that? And how did you overcome those?
Sure. So some of the challenges, just were, I think would be there with onboarding anybody, which would be training them in how we do work, not just how we want it to be done, so that we deliver consistent quality for our customers. And so we generally use WordPress to build websites, but then we also have our own set of plugins and a custom theme that we usually use as a starter theme. And so training them on how all of that specifically work together, and how, just generally how we approach design, so that they could apply the tools that they already had and the skills that they already had, continue to provide consistent work with what we've done in the past. There was some time involved with that process. And the way that we overcame it was by using some processes that we already had in place, and then also together with our virtual professional, working through those processes to make sure that they were clear. Because some of those processes were clear in my head or in others' heads, but weren't clear to somebody who was new to working through them. And so we were able to achieve better clarity, by having a fresh set of eyes walk through those lists. So that's those were some of the challenges and some of the ways that we were able to overcome those.
And so you have one full-time and then one part-time now. So when you had the second virtual professional come on board, what was it, like a faster learning curve because you had to kind of streamline things? Was it about the same? What was that experience like?
Yeah, so we actually had we've onboarded 3 people. Our first virtual professional chose to go do something else. That was challenging. That was another challenge, but it actually allowed us to refine our processes even more. So by the time we were onboarding our part-time person a few months ago, his name is Jam. He's doing great. Neil's our full-time virtual professional, and he's also doing great. But by the time we were onboarding Jam, we really had a much clearer process, both in how we thought about onboarding and then also in the documentation. So there's still room to improve for sure, but even what we wanted to train on more clearly defined by the time we were onboarding Jam. So yeah, so that process, it gets more refined every time you use it, but it's painful when you're doing it the first time. And by painful, I mean, it takes time. So in order to scale and not, be the only person doing something or a small group doing something, in order to get more done, you have to put that effort in to build those processes. Otherwise, even if you add people, they might be doing everything differently. And so when you're not going to achieve consistent results if everybody, even if they're effective, are doing things in different ways. So there's, you should get a good return on the time spent developing those systems and processes. And that's what we've seen. So now we have a lot of repeatable tasks that come from clients, like they do email newsletters, or that's one, or regular blog posts that they send us content for that we structure correctly and post, and then we'll customize an email campaign. That's a pretty common type of task that we get. And we have internal checklists that are on those tasks. We can talk about tools in a minute, but on our project management tool, that we're able to just duplicate that template task, and it has a checklist in it of what needs to be done. And then, so tasking, one of those tasks takes, 2 minutes now, as opposed to having to explain everything and here's the context. And, that would be a 15-20 minute conversation if we tried to do it, one off every time. So having those checklists and systems speeds up those types of repeatable tasks.
Yeah, I definitely want to dig into the tools you're using in just a minute. Before that, I'm kind of curious, how do you decide now what you delegate to the virtual professional versus what you still do in the business? Have you found like you're focused more on like doing the sales and direct client service now, or how do you find that balance and what works well for you?
So I would say a year ago, I was doing all the things: sales, account management, invoicing, the actual work, everything, but for a smaller number of clients. But the reason I reached out to Workergenix is I hit a ceiling. There's only so many hours in a day and in a week. I either had to turn down clients or, turn down work, or find a way to scale up. So I started looking for what are tasks that are important and that have to be done, but that don't necessarily have to be done by me, in order to increase the overall amount of work that we're able to do for clients. And once I identified those types of tasks, those were the first things that I realized there's enough here to be able to hand off. So examples of that type of work would be, when we have clients who update their websites, they want to add a new page, or, hey, we've changed the language on these pages, can you update that for us? I would, pass that work through. On new website builds, I'm able to pass that type of work to Neil and Jam, and then they're able to build out those pages. Yeah, and the types of things that I'm still doing and then also, like I mentioned, updating our email templates for clients with new content. Those repeatable types of tasks are definitely things that can be handed off. Over time, I've also, as we've built more rapport and just we're all thinking in the same way about how to approach tasks, I'm able to hand things off with less instruction. So because Neil and Jam understand our clients, they know who they are, they know that they're very familiar with their websites on the back end. And so when I get an email, I can more directly forward that email into our project management tool, and I'll read over it, and occasionally I'll clarify some language in it if I feel like the client wasn't really clear about what they were asking for. But often I don't have to do that at all. I just forward it in there, it creates a task, and then I just assign it to somebody to work on with a due date. And they're really fast, and they knock it out. And then I review it, and then I send it back to the client. So I'm still doing the direct client interactions and the sales account management side, but a lot of the actual work that's being done is being done by my virtual professionals, and they do a great job.
That's awesome to hear. So you've been able to take on more business, then generate more revenue, because you are avoiding that ceiling now.
Absolutely. And my role has shifted more into, I still am doing some of the technical work, and I know what needs to be done. So I'm able to proof it. I'm able to review it and make sure it's done correctly. But I'm also doing more. I'm less of the technician and more of the manager. So, more and more project managing our own projects and tasks. Still, though, we're small enough that I still jump in and do some of the work, but I'm actually, doing a little more of the management, or much more of the management side than I had time to do before. And that has allowed us to get more done overall, and so increase revenue that way.
Very good. So let's talk about tools a little bit. What are your go-to tools for doing your task management or communication or anything else that's kind of like a daily must-have for working with virtual professionals?
Sure. I know everybody has a Google workspace account. We actually, for communication, though, use Slack. And I've used Slack for a long time. That is great for being able to talk individually, Neil or Jam, but also we have a group conversation, so we can all three jump in there and collaborate, on a given task. That works really well for us for communication. We do use Google Drive because they have, through their Google Workspace account, a good amount of space in there. I use Dropbox I have used that historically for everything else. So there is some amount of having to kind of like copy stuff over into Google Drive, but that has, we just kind of adapted to the workflow that worked. File storage, those are the two tools that we use, Dropbox and then Google Drive for everything that they need access to. And then for project management, we use Trello. I've used Asana. I've worked in Basecamp. I've worked in a bunch of different project management tools over the years, but I've worked in Trello for a really long time, and I keep going back to it. We have a paid Trello account. It's worth it to be able to, put due dates on things, be able to see a calendar view, a timeline view of projects and tasks. And it's helpful probably more for me than it, being able to see those views than it is for them. But it's really helpful, just to be able to plan tasks and projects and set expectations for clients that are accurate. So it also allows me to, just be able to, we have a task board with kind of an inbox, that column for new tasks that come in. And then we have an active column right beside that for, okay, now it's tasked and it has a due date. And it's occasionally things get in there without a due date, but it defines who the client is right in the header, what the task is, and then you can assign a team member to it. So they can look at Trello and they get a notification, but they can look at that at a glance. They can filter it by just themselves and see all the tasks that are assigned to them to work on. And then we have a label system in there for whether something's in progress. So when they start working on it, they add the in progress label to it. So I can look at it and see what's actively being worked on. And then if they have a question, they put a label on there that is for a question. So it'll alert me to, Neil's got a question about, certain tasks. And usually they're really communicative and really good about also sending me a message in Slack or leaving a comment on the card, so I get notified that way as well. But then when they're done, they put it in a review label status. So then I can review it, make sure, there's no additional edits that are needed. And then I send it to the client to approve, or just go ahead and mark it as done if it's, actually done. Yeah, so Trello's worked really well for us. It's a kind of a Kanban system, if you're familiar with that, for project management. And then we just move it over to the done list, and projects, like website projects that have multiple steps in them, we will set up its own list that will have, cards that are different tasks that have to happen in different phases of those projects. All that is flexible as a tool to be able to handle all of that. If you're in a different type of industry, you can find a way to adjust the workflow in those boards that probably would make sense to your industry as well. You can add checklists and attachments and things like that right there to individual tasks. Yeah, those are the primary tools that we use.
That's really helpful. So, I mean, you're very technology oriented. You've got great tools going. What about like the management side? Like, do you find yourself having to, like, what is like the meeting management? Are you having to have regular like video chats with your virtual professionals, or is it pretty much just all through the tools for, the chats or the task portal or things like that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I definitely try to touch base, at least in Slack. So at least by text, a text type message every day with Jan and Neil. And then, they get a notification whenever I add a new task in Trello. So we communicate on that. But then I also try to I use Zoom for video calls primarily. And, we try to I try to jump on a Zoom call. Anytime a task I feel like requires questions like back and forth, for understanding, and then I'll send a Zoom message or we'll schedule a call. But I try to talk to them by video at least once or twice a week, just to have a touch point, and also to just hear how they're doing, just, to understand what's going on in their life. We take, 5 or 10 minutes and how are you? How's your family? Just stuff like that. One other tool that we use that I just remembered is Loom. That's a really key tool. It allows me to record a video. So I can record my screen. I've got a couple of monitors. I can pick which monitor I'm recording. If it's a task that it's sometimes just out of time, I don't have time to type up all the instructions, but I can verbally, say it, communicate it. Then I'll just record a quick Loom video with a screen share of that page. Hey, this is what needs to be edited. This header, change, it needs to say this. And, I can record all that. And then they can go back and listen to it as many times as they want. It generates a link that I drop, I can send it to them in Slack, or I can put it on their task. And then they can watch that video however many times they need to in order to understand the task. And so loom.com is that tool. But for having, I think it's really important for us to have communication in some way. I try to do that every day, and then by video at least once or twice a week. And I actually try as much as possible to do either once a week or once every 2 weeks, do a call, since I've got 2 virtual professionals, do a call with all 3 of us so that they know each other, because they're both in the Philippines, but they're not actually in the same part of the Philippines. That way, if they need to ask the other one a question about a certain task, I want them to have rapport with each other as well to be able to do that. So I try to cross train. Everybody's a little better at some things than others, but as much as possible, I try to cross train all of us to be able to do as much as possible, so that if somebody hits a roadblock, or somebody is out a day, or hits the end of their time and the task needs to be handed off, that can happen, and so that things can continue to get done. So
Well,
it's
awesome.
helpful for them to know each other.
That is so great to hear. I mean, so often people can think of having a virtual assistant as just like a black box, and you just feed tasks and tasks get completed and checked off the list, and that's it. And it's like, these are people, and you're going to get better productivity and better results if you invest in building that relationship with them. So it's really great to hear that you're doing that, and doing that so well.
Well, thanks.
So we've talked a lot about the tools, we've talked about how you've leveraged virtual professionals and the managing and onboarding. Let's hear more about like the services that you offer for your clients. And I'd love to hear kind of like a client success story of like what a great client looks like for you and how you've been able to help them.
Sure. So we primarily do web design. So we build websites and rebuild websites, and digital marketing services. So email newsletters, SEO optimization, both on a technical side as well as on a content side for ongoing SEO services. We also offer web design clients that we build their sites. We offer hosting and website management. So we keep everything backed up and up to date, and we run on very performant servers. So those are some of the ongoing services. I'm wearing a Wire shirt. Moffat Consulting provides services also for Wire Technology, which is an IT company based here in Chattanooga. And so we offer a range of services, but our core services that we offer, even through a lot of what we do with Wire, is building websites for their clients. So as well as other clients that are just directly related with Moffat Consulting. But yeah, that's the core of what we offer. We get clients from a variety of different avenues, mainly word of mouth is our primary avenue. So we admittedly could spend more time, and should probably, on marketing ourselves, but we have not had time to do that as a result of a lot of client work, which is great. And we're really thankful for that. Yeah. So we've worked with nonprofits, small, medium-sized businesses. Probably, some ideal clients would be, medium-sized businesses that we have a lot of customers who are in manufacturing, different types of equipment. And so those have been great customers for us. And We usually are introduced to a client because they're having a problem. So their website is old, or it's not working, or it keeps going down. Nothing's been kept up to date. That's often how people, and they're frustrated. That's how they come to us. So we often will just take a look at everything with them to see where they're at as a first step, and then see what they need, understand what's their goal, how as a business, and how does their website fit into that overall goal. Need the website to be doing that. Maybe it's not. Are they generating leads? Are they actually selling stuff through their website? And then if we're able to work within their existing website and make edits and changes and structurally, adjust things to make that work for them to reach their goals, then, we'll put together a proposal that, includes that. If the right answer is to rebuild their website, so that they can achieve those goals, then we'll put together a proposal that, has that for them. Yeah, that's generally the process. And we've had the years, great success with both nonprofits and, for-profit businesses using that approach to look at their websites and their overall marketing plan and digital marketing plan. We're able to use our virtual professionals, rebuild a local large manufacturing company's website with lots of product pages on there. And, once together we kind of built some templates for what these pages needed to look like. They had a lot of dynamic content or different content on all the pages that had to be inputted, at least the first time manually. And so I was able to use a virtual professional at that time, and together doubled our productivity. So got it done in half the time by, having Neil crank through pages and set up content on there as I was doing the other pages. And so, it would have taken me twice as long to do it myself. And now he knows that site as well as I do, and Jam does too. And so that same client has come back. They were super happy with it. They were having lots of downtime issues with their site, resolved all those issues for them. And now they, have added additional pages, and we can, create those pages really quickly for them because we build it. We understand what they need and how they like things structured. So yeah, that's a good win for the customer, and it's a good win for us to be able to be more productive. Yeah.
Well, we're almost out of time. Before we are done, I wanted to see if people are frustrated with their websites or want a new website, want better SEO, want to get more sales to their website and get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to contact you?
Sure. Yeah, they could go to our website. It's moffatco.com. Moffat is Moffatt. So moffattco.com, Moffat Co. And you can see our services that we offer there. Pretty clear way to contact us through our website, phone number on there. So yeah, reach out through there. Would love to talk with you. Happy to, anybody, who comes through Workergenix or sees this, happy to do a 30-minute call with you just to see what your needs are and see if we're a good fit to help you with those.
Awesome. Well, Beau, we've really appreciated you having as a guest on our mastermind today. If you are looking to, continue to grow and scale and leverage your business the same way Beau has with his virtual professionals with your website, then I would encourage you, as you're watching this, to reach out to Beau. It's the same concept of leverage. Like, let's let the people who are really good at what they do, building your website, marketing, and online SEO, handle that so you can focus on what you do really well in your business. Well, thanks again, Beau.
Thanks, Harley.